So,
Okay, I'm just going to click that.
yeah.
Got it.
All right. Welcome,
Okay,
Mr. Gordon Smith. I'm so
thank you.
happy to get this opportunity to ask you some questions about mediumship and
Yep.
development around this. So, but how did you find your ability to be medium? How did you learn and practice in the beginning?
Um, I think it was when a friend of mine, a colleague I worked with in the hairdressing salon, when I was around about 20 years old, her brother died. And um, I took her to see a spiritualist medium, which is what she asked me to do. And when I was there, the medium singled me out and said, you know, why are you not developing your gift? And I thought, oh, I have a gift. And she said, the girl who's sitting beside you, who has lost her brother, why don't you tell her what you got? And I had had a vision of this girl's brother dying the moment he died. But I was embarrassed to talk about mediumship, or I didn't think people would believe it, or I just didn't want to make it a public thing. But once I learned that there was churches, development groups, places you could go and learn to develop it and make it stronger, then I followed that path. So I was probably about 20 years old when I had that discovery that my mediumship was real and it could actually be developed into something. And when I was a child, I had many episodes, but as a child, you don't know what that is. You have no idea. You just think everybody can see spirits or everybody can hear voices. So as a child, it's quite normal. As an adult, it feels different.
Mm. So you went to circles, certain circles, or how did you go to teacher? How did you develop?
Well, it was at my first mediumship demonstration with my friend that I was told by a medium how to find a circle and how to look for the right medium to teach me. So I did that. I went to a group that I was invited to go to because of the medium that had given me a message. And I went there on a Thursday night. I sat and I was told to meditate, but nobody told me how to meditate. So I just sat there and I did not want to ask any questions. I thought, okay, I closed my eyes and every now and again I opened one eye to see what was happening in the room. And I thought, oh, they're all sitting with their eyes closed and what's this about? Nobody explained anything. And at the end of the night, the medium went round each individual. How did you feel? Oh, I had a guide and I had this. And then the next one, oh, I got a message and I got, and the other, you know, and they all gave things and it came to me and I got nothing. I said, I felt okay. And the teacher said, good. You felt okay. Well, I did feel okay, but nothing much. And I think I saw one of the times when my eyes were closed for a moment, I saw a light bulb switching on. That was it, nothing else. I would love to report that I got all messages. I didn't. It was very simple. Something in me said it felt right. So I started to read on meditation the next week. What should you do? I went to bookstores. I found books on meditation and I thought I'll practice that. And I had no idea what I was doing, if I'm honest. And my teacher was such that she just watched and she observed for a few weeks before she actually spoke to me and said, okay, I want you to learn to meditate properly. And then she gave me advice. But her way was to watch people first, to see if they were really interested, to see if they were sensible people, if they were grounded. So I didn't realize that all the time I was kind of on my own. Um, that, sorry, well, I didn't realize that when she wasn't interfering or helping me, there was a reason for it. She she wanted to see how I behaved in her circle first, and then she stepped in, and then she gave me guidance. And it's something I've learned is a good thing to watch people's reaction when you put them into meditation, to see who reacts and who doesn't. And for me, I was just inquiring at the time. I just really wanted to know about the things that had happened to me when I saw my friend's brother and when I was a kid. So my teacher, over the course of the next 7 years, that became my classroom, and she taught me many things. But a lot of it she taught me to find for myself, because she said that was the best teaching. Find it for yourself.
So then you was developed and you was learning for years. I mean, sometimes nowadays people go for some weekend courses and then they call themselves mediums.
Well, they're weekend mediums. But no, a lot of it I found in the 7 years that I worked with Mrs. Primrose, I developed a lot about myself, as well as mediumship and healing and connecting to spirit, these things. But I learned a lot about the person who was Gordon, and I learned a lot about why I wanted to be a medium, not can I do it. My teacher told me at the end of 7 years, the first time I saw you, I knew you were a medium. I don't know how she knew that, but she did. And she said, what I needed to develop was the young man who walked into my class. And that's why I observed you. And then I looked at the best plan for you. And she said, I decided you already were a medium. She didn't tell me that. She said, so I decided to teach you about healing first, linking with spirit and then healing. And I thought, I wondered why she did that. Why was that? And then she told me why. She said, because a medium needs to develop a sense of compassion for other people. So the best way to do it was to help me to practice healing on myself, first of all. Because although I thought I was okay, part of your development is, do you have hang-ups? Do you have fears, phobias, all sorts of things? Because if you're going to go in and start to work on your mind, then you need to know that your mind is a good place to go into. And therefore, the first 2 or 3 years of my development was about meditation and fixing out my own imbalances, my own phobias, fears, anxieties. And everybody has these things. So I see that as a really great kind of emotional education that I got. I mean, all the while, at the drop of a hat, in an instance, I could get a message from spirit. That was not the problem. The thing was making sure that what I got and how I delivered it was responsible. So my teacher decided that she would teach me a lot about the mind and how the emotions work through the mind. And all the while, I enjoyed that because it was an incredible emotional education that I got to learn how to deal with your own emotions. And I think as a medium, that was so important because you're going to have to work with other people's emotions. That's what you're going to be dealing with. So how can you possibly know that if you can't recognize your own emotional imbalances and you don't know how appropriately to fix them? So I feel really blessed as a medium, more than those sad weekend mediums who believe they take 2 days training and they're done. No, I'm sure they can deliver messages, but can they touch the heart of people? Can they balance their emotions? Are they even interested? So there's a lot about mediumship that goes much deeper. And that was my teaching. It's why it took so long, was because there was a lot of things that I needed to work out in me. I was only in my early 20s. Most people in their early 20s haven't totally understood what their life plan is about or what their life is totally about. So I see that I had a very wise teacher.
So healing and mediumship, do you think this is important to develop both? Do they belong together?
Well, they do for me. I believe that it was because I started to practice healing that the messages or the content of the message I got went to a deeper level in a person's life. So, I mean, the type of message I probably could have got back then, I could have said, you know, I have a lady here, her name's Elizabeth, it's your mother, and went on and gave information. But there was no depth to it. Yes, there was evidence, but it didn't have any emotional impact on people other than to startle them. So I believe the healing I was learning, though it was all about energy, I learned that, oh my God, you need to get to the cause of things. And I think that came through my mediumship because of my healing, that I learned I didn't want to just give information, I wanted to help people. And I think the two things, when they work together, there's a magic to it. There's a special spiritual connection. I think one without the other is just a clever thing. It sounds clever if you say, oh, your father's here and his name is Rolf. And the person says, oh, that is my father's name. But how does it help them? You still have to bring about a message that has a value to it and a quality that can help somebody get back on with their life after they've lost someone. So that's the healing side of mediumship. And it's important for people to develop that along with their clever gift, And I don't mean that in a petty way that mediumship is petty. It's not. But I think the elements have to be in it. And healing is a big, important element in mediumship for me.
And which advices do you give to a new beginner who wants to be a medium?
Take your time. It's a simple answer.
Yeah.
Don't rush, because once again, people who strive to be something. Now, in my life, I went to college to learn to be a hairdresser. So when you start out in a new practice, any practice, if you've gone to university to be a lawyer, all the while you're training, you see the end of the training and you see the beginning of the practice, and you can't wait to do it. But like anybody who passes their exams in any skill, the moment you have to work with the public, oh my God, you wish you were back in that classroom. You wish you'd have learned more. You wish you would have, because all of a sudden it's a different thing. And this is why I say to new people coming in, don't rush. Take your time, because you're going to be working with people's emotions. You're going to be working with people who do not know what they want, who are confused. These are the people who come along to mediums. People who are totally balanced and happy don't. So you need to know that you've got the emotional intelligence and ability to heal other people who are emotional. So take your time. Also, you need to keep reminding yourself, why am I doing this? Don't just ask that once, ask that at different junctures of your development. Am I still as happy to do this? I call it having reality checks every 6 months. Is it still pleasing me? Am I still pleased to do it for other people? Because it becomes a commitment. So take your time, is what I would say. Something my own teacher told me when I said, you know, I've gone much slower now since you taught me, and I'm being patient. Am I doing okay? And she said, you can never go slow enough. I said, okay. So that means no. And I understand what she means, because it is a big thing the moment you go from a trainee medium, a developing medium, into being a practicing medium. Then you're working with so many individuals who are their own quantity. Just because you read for somebody once doesn't mean you say that's going to happen again or ever. So you need, everything you do is total new learning as a medium. You don't ever really just be, I'm a medium, because what you think you know might all change tomorrow because of something else. So slowly, I would say, don't be in a rush and enjoy the process of development. That's really important, that it makes you feel good. It really is.
That's very wisdom, I must say. Can anyone develop as a medium? Or does anyone have mediumistic abilities? I think that's two different things.
Well, yeah, because I think everybody has mediumistic abilities. And I would believe that everybody to some point can degree an amount of sensitivity, awareness, spiritual awareness, awareness of the spirit world. Would everybody want it to be their life? No, because not everybody would. Would everybody do it for other people? No. And it's a bit like this, Rosemary. I always believe that mediumship is like any kind of ability. So you and I can both be taught to play piano. But do we have that musicality within us that we would become a concert pianist, or would we just learn to play for our friends and family? So everybody can develop that. Everybody can learn to draw. People say, I can't draw. Well, yes, you can. If you can write your name, you're drawing. So you can teach that and add to it and build on it. I can do the same with people who have a willingness to learn about mediumship. But the thing is, can they take it to the heights of the mediums who do it every week or all over the world? That's entirely up to them. you know, and it really is. If you had Beethoven in a class of music students, he is going to stand out. You know, he's going to become top of the class, but it doesn't mean to say the other people won't be good at it. So there's degrees of mediumship, like there's degrees of musicality or art or whatever.
I think when this your first medium you met who told that you were mediumist, that you
Yes.
were medium. Have you met anyone that you felt that you should be a medium? Have you done the same for someone?
Absolutely. Actually, quite a lot, because I've worked with so many students. And sometimes there's been mediumship done in public, in a public demonstration, where as I'm working with somebody, I just get this kind of knowing in my heart and say, you're a medium, like it was said to me. And now I know and totally understand what that lady felt. It was just a moment, wow, I'm talking to another medium. So though I was just 20 or 21 or something at the time, and I had no inclination or intention to become a medium, honestly, I had none at all. And when she said that, something touched me. And I know I've done this with other people through my life. I've also equally seen people who come along and say, I want to be a medium, and everything in me tells me you're never going to make it. Because I just, again, you get the opposite feeling of, oh, it's not going to work. And I think because you can see if people get distracted or not. Some people come with great intentions, but they want it to be over and done with in a weekend or in a week. Right, am I ready yet? And you think, well, no, you think you are, but you're not. So again, everybody has the potential to grow in some way with spiritual development and mediumship, but you know, not everybody will stand up in front of the public and give messages. And I think those who are meant to will be given that opportunity in their life. Whether they take it or not, the choice is still up to the person.
So now I will go to a little bit other subject. What do you think about haunted houses and talk about evil spirits?
Again, I think a lot of this stuff comes from scary movies, horror books, things like that. People get scared. There's no doubt about that. People do get frightened. Sometimes they have moments when they feel something that they can't explain. People immediately don't want that to be them, so they associate it with where they are. This house is bad. But what might actually be happening, often does, is that that person's feeling anxious, or they're having a moment of doubt or fear or something in their life. So rather than say it's them, it must be something else. The unseen world is really easy to blame for your feelings. So I have a theory that houses are not really haunted. People are. People are haunted. So people carry around with them, and I don't mean attachments and nonsense. People carry around their own fear, their own jealousies, angers, hatreds, and in certain moments of their life, these things can actually be ignited. They can be lit up for a moment, and depending on the place and time that they're in. So I would say that that has been my experience when I've worked with groups to go to houses where people are reporting hauntings. Now, that's a different thing. If you've got people who say, this house I'm in is hurting me, it's scaring me, there's an evil energy, a bad spirit. I've gone to hundreds of these, Rosemary, and never yet once found a bad spirit. I find that kind of strange that, you know, the minute I go in or people like me, we don't find anything. Yet, there's lots of people out there saying, oh my God. So, you know, we went in and this man appeared, or there was an essence of a scary person and stuff like that. So I think the haunting depends on the person who is there assessing the haunting. I stand by that people do get scared. And you can walk in as a sensitive, you can walk into any building or even a place in the countryside or a forest, anything. And you can say, oh, I don't like the feeling I get here. But that doesn't mean to say it's an evil thing. It's just something you don't understand. So again, I go back to my development. Learning about your mind is one of the best things you can invest in. To learn how is your mind coping with this? You know, so you take me and a ghost hunter, and we've done this experiment. Ghost hunter reports so much stuff going on. Okay, you take me in. No, I don't feel a thing. I really don't feel a thing. And I really don't. And I won't make things up. I wouldn't do that in medium chat. I certainly wouldn't do it in that. And therefore, then you have to listen to two testimonies. We'd be like two witnesses at court. One has just given their description of what they felt when they were put into a particular house. The other has come in and said, well, I felt nothing. Maybe we're both right. Maybe we're both wrong. But the fact is, the house is just a house. People often haunt houses, not ghosts or spirits. I don't say I don't believe in ghosts, because ghosts are just memories trapped in things, and a sensitive or a medium can release that memory. The same way you and I can have a conversation about music in the 70s, and all of a sudden we start remembering bands and remembering things. People can unlock scary memories when they go into certain houses or places and think, ooh, and before you know it, you've just let go one of your own ghosts. Now, the interesting thing is I'm about to hopefully start making a television show called Give Up the Ghost. And it's a program about helping people who are frightened of this stuff. Because as a medium, my job is to heal people. As a medium, I never scare people. It would not be in me to do that. So where people scream bad spirit and ghosts and scary stuff, that's where you need somebody like me who'll walk in and go, let me fix this. Don't run away from this stuff. Because the reason these things scare us is because we're scared, or people are scared. We must face our fears at some point. We must learn to live with the hills and whatnot that people are frightened of, and put the light on in them. One of the things about scary houses I find is that put the light on and it won't be scary. It's like a child in a darkened room. And I've given this example to so many people. As a child, I remember one time my mother had ironed a white shirt for school for my older brother and hung it behind the door in our bedroom. And we were all little boys and all the lights were out. And just the light from the window cast a kind of glow on this white shirt. And as a child, I watched it change into many, many different things. Now, as a medium, I now understand what's happening. I was a natural clairvoyant. My third eye opens, I see things. But if I attach fear to that as a child, that becomes an evil thing. If I find it funny, as I did as a child, I thought it was fascinating. So it depends on the mind. If the mind sees phenomena and goes, wow, then it's wow. And the same thing could be, I'm going to jump to a completely different thing, but in the 1960s, there was many chemical trials done with the use of LSD in people to bring about healing and to see the reaction that LSD had. Now, people who were a bit messed up had what they called a bad trip. People who were actually pretty cool had a good trip. It's all to do with the mind. And I'm not saying we should take LSD. What I'm saying is, what it shows you is even in something like that, the individual will react differently. So scary stuff can scare people who are easily scared or who are open to be scared. The same thing may have no effect on anyone. And here's what I would say. If bad spirits could hurt us, we would have no chance of stopping them. So there you go. And I also think people do enough bad things in the world to stop blaming spirits for it. Let's look at what people are doing, and maybe we'll go on a lot better if we take responsibility for the things people do and stop blaming the unseen world.
That's wonderful. So the last question, how do you want to describe your feeling of what the spiritual world is?
Ooh, I think immediately it's hard to describe it in words, human terminology. So I think it's a higher state of being, and an illumination is probably the best word I could find. If you had your highest high moment from the life you're living, the one that makes you feel, wow, that was a brilliant moment, and then multiply it by whatever, then that's what you would feel. And a lot of people will go, yeah, but what if you've been a bad person? What you need to understand is a person is not a spirit. The spirit is for a while a person, but it goes back to its natural state, which is lighter. So to leave and cast behind this heavy body and then be in your light body, there's an immediate acceleration of self. There's an immediate ascension to a higher way of seeing things. So you can look at the garbage you've done in this life and the good stuff, and it won't affect you that way, but you'll look at it and think, wow, I had opportunities. There's a learning moment there when you go into spirit of, oh, that's what my life was about. And that includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because please don't anybody believe that you're living here as the goody-goody person. We all have highs and lows and moments because we're human. But the moment we are not human, we can then reflect, genuinely reflect and go, wow, that's what the purpose of my life was and I missed it. Or that was the purpose of my life and I achieved it. So there's a moment of reflection at that point. And then beyond that, it's difficult and I wouldn't want to. Then I would start to make metaphors up and talk in kind of spiritualistic terms of the streets are made of light and, you know, the colors are so iridescent that, you know, that stuff. It's all been said before. So for me, it's a wonderful state of grace. It's a beyond belief feeling. And if I find that if I die and there is no afterlife, I'll be very disappointed. No, I think from my own experience of where I felt out of body when I've been practicing trance and things, Rosemary, the euphoria I have felt when I'm this sense of just being out of my body, it's incredible. So to be back in that state is a wow. And I hope people get what I'm saying, because your life force energy is an incredible thing. And it's even more incredible when it's beyond this physical world. And that's what I would say to people. So just keep that in your mind, that you are incredible. You are a spiritual being. And you don't need to wait till you die to realize that. Realize that now. And you can be an incredible person in this life, fueled by your own spiritual energy.
That's great. So, well, I thank you. I'll stop recording now.
That's good.